Te recomiendo que te quedes, Malimbo, antes de que te vayas a ver ese vídeo. Hazme caso. Merece la pena. A ver. Sí, sí. Ahora es el momento de quedarse. Buenas a todos, chavales. Otro jueves más con el Inside Star Citizen. Vamos a ver.
So I've just always racing since I was a kid.
Me reventó con el acento, chavales. Me puto reventó con el acento, tío.
So I've just always racing since I was a kid. I think I was 5 or 6 years old and sat down watching TV. I was watching monster truck racing, and then it grew to a love of, touring cars, Formula One. So I basically travel the country in the UK and I take pictures of cars, and that's something I've been doing for about 4 or 5 years now.
Ok, dice que siempre, desde siempre le ha gustado a ese niño las carreras y que vio Monster Trucks y demás. Y que de niño y que le encantó y que se dedica, lleva haciendo 4 o 5 años, creo que dijo, de ir sacando fotos de coches de carreras por el Reino Unido.
It's gone from a hobby to sort of semi-professional level now, which is really cool. Here I am, 40 years old, and I still live it today.
Racing is far more than just maybe motorsport. It has this innate ability to change in a split second.
It's a chance for people to determine skill levels and to show how much practice, how much time, how much effort they've put into a sport.
Claro, al final el racing dice que es como pues una evaluación, ¿no? De ver cuánto tiempo han invertido la gente en ese momento, cuánta práctica han puesto, cuánta habilidad tienen. Y comentaba el chaval del principio, ¿no? Que decía que ha llegado al punto de ser un hobby, es algo casi semiprofesional, el sacar las fotografías de vehículos de carreras.
Racing has an incredible ability to bring people together, I think.
I'm a pretty competitive person, and so the ability to kind of challenge people, no matter who you are or where you come from, it's a level playing field once you're out on a track.
It's about pushing things to the limit, both in terms of the machine and the car, and then it's about the drivers or the riders pushing themselves to the limit within that machine.
Claro, al final el poder competir en nivelado de esta manera es algo que puedes hacer en una pista de carreras, no importa de dónde vengas o donde tengas, o quien seas, ¿no? Dice que es como algo que dice que es una persona muy competitiva, ¿no?
My favorite thing about racing in Star Citizen is just the skill.
It is a pure use case of how you use our ships to their maximum performance. You have to know them to get everything out of them.
Claro, uno de los aspectos favoritos del Star Citizen, de las carreras de Star Citizen, es la habilidad. Tienes que conocer las naves, dice yo, que tienes que tener la habilidad, ¿no? Para llevarlas.
That aren't necessarily used for practical reasons.
You can race cutters, you can race M50s, you can race Furies, you can race whole A's, you can race whatever you like. And as long as everybody's on a level playing field, it always comes down to skill.
Am I good at racing?
Claro, puedes usar la nave que te dé la gana para volar, como si es una Jula, como si usas una 600. Pero al final, si las cosas están niveladas, todo viene al mismo punto. Habilidad.
I'm all right. Yeah, there are people who are better than me. There are a lot of people who are worse than me. But yeah, I'm good.
Claro, dice, ¿soy bueno en las carreras? Dice, sí, soy bueno en las carreras. Hay gente que es peor que yo, hay gente que es mejor que yo, pero yo soy bueno.
Compete with other people to fly from A to B as fast as possible. That's where real competition is coming from.
We had an internal scoreboard for the old Vanderval times. I think I beat the next highest score by 10 seconds. We've got a little competition going inside.
I felt like I really...
Dice que tiene una competición a nivel interna y que el pavo ha roto la puntuación interna que tienen por 10 segundos. En Vandal, ¿cómo se llama no me acuerdo cómo se llama la pista de carreras, macho.
A little competition.
Tiene que estar, a ver.
10 seconds. We've got a little next highest score by... I think I beat the next highest score by internal scoreboard for the old Van der Waal times.
Van der Waal. El old Van der Waal.
I think I beat the next highest score by 10 seconds. We've got a little competition going inside.
I felt like I really nailed that lap, and this guy's gone 15 seconds quicker than me in the same ship. Like, how is that possible?
What
Dice que pensé que lo había hecho de puta madre y este pavo me ha sacado 15 minutos, o sea, 15 segundos de ventaja. ¿Cómo es eso posible?
other game with this level of quality can you play and race with 6 degrees of freedom? There isn't. There just isn't one.
Claro, no hay ningún juego, dice, en el que puedas volar con 6 ejes de libertad y que con esta calidad y que puedas competir de esta manera con carreras, ¿no? Que no existe otro juego igual.
So last week, a whole bunch of us got into a play session in Arena Commander and did a few classic races.
Most of my stuff has been like single player time trial stuff in Arena Commander or just in the tracks around the PU. So that was the first like big group race that I'd been involved in.
Even though half the people that we did the playtest with, I didn't know, it felt like jumping in with your mates, and yeah, I like that aspect of it.
There was a moment where we were all like lined up and we did like a countdown and we were all going to drive off and get this cool shot of us flying through a cave.
Let me just get down to this first corner actually, because I want to try and catch some people smashing into this rock. I mean, going
so
perfectly
savage.
through that.
You mean you want a good angle of the start, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of anticipation, a lot of kind of banter going back and forth. Everyone was hyping up about
Qué guapa. Qué guapa está la LX, eh. Hostia. Hostia, qué guapa está la LX. Nos han jodido, chavales. Nos han jodido, pero bien, qué guapa está, tío. Están diciendo de que es la primera vez que me he involucrado así en un grupo de carreras grande, porque se juntaron todos para hacer estas pruebas y demás a la hora de competir.
anticipation,
Para
a lot
probar
of kind
las
of
carreras.
banter going back and forth. Everyone was hyping up about how great they'd be. And we said go. And they all left and immediately crashed into the first corner.
Oh, wow.
It was carnage.
I mean, there's a hell of a lot of crashing into walls.
Claro, fue una carnicería porque cuando dieron la salida todo el mundo estaba en plan a saco y inmediatamente se reventaron contra la esquina, ¿no?
Hit me.
Turns out I'm not very good at racing at all, and people who I thought wasn't going to be very good at racing were in fact incredible at racing.
Dice, resultó que yo no era nada de bueno al racing y que gente que yo pensé que no era muy buena al racing resultó ser muy buena corriendo.
Never flown into a wall quite as fast as that.
I didn't even get to the first corner.
Every single time I hit the wall, so yeah.
Is everyone crashed? How am I winning?
Let's all regroup at the start line again.
People who make the games you'd think would be really good at it. Yeah, well, maybe we should delete that footage actually.
We had such a big skill gap between the best and the worst. The guys who film all the great capture footage, they were insane.
I got a bit carried away and started actually racing, which isn't ideal because I need to get footage of other people, but they were all behind me.
I don't remember the name of the player that was winning every race, but it was quite obvious that they were flying with 2 sticks.
Maybe half a lap.
LOL. Se están hablando de cómo se estaban divirtiendo en la carrera, ¿no? Y dice, no recuerdo quién estaba volando la carrera, pero era bastante obvio que estaba utilizando dual sticks y está enseñando los... Bir. Hostia, tío.
Till the end, Will just comes absolutely tearing past me.
They were just blasting off way ahead of someone like me who literally helped work on the ship. It was kind of funny and a good reminder that just because you make games doesn't mean you're good at them.
Who's that? It's just come under me. Cheeky.
The best racer by far, by leaps and bounds as well.
Claro, dice el mejor competidor de lejos era Will, que debe ser el chaval este que está hablando, y dice que hagas videojuegos no significa que seas bueno jugando.
A lot of envy for Will and his ability to operate our ships. Like, how can you fly our ship better than us?
Oh, who's the worst racer?
Claro, ¿cómo puedes volar la nave mejor que nosotros que la hemos hecho, no? Eso es lo que se está diciendo. A ver, lo que estáis viendo aquí de flechas y de que todo que está muy, muy bien indicado y tal, esto es como se ve en el Arena Commander. ¿Sí? Esto es como se ve en el Arena Commander y está muy chulo.
I can't answer that question.
It definitely wasn't me, so that's all right.
I
think I smashed into more gates than I've actually been through.
Someone just exploded right next to me.
My favourite ship is the Razor because it looks like a supercar, and when you get into it, when you're flying it around, it has that aesthetic.
The best racing ship for me was probably the Mirror Razor.
I think everybody knows that the Merlin is one.
Están hablando ahora de cuál es la nave favorita y cuál es el peor de todos y que no le iban a comentar, ¿vale? El peor de todos que había competido de los developers. Están comentando nada, dicen, pues para mí la mejor nave pues es la que más me gusta es la Razor, ha sido por 2 y ahora pues la Merlin está saliendo.
It's small, it's light, it's got good engines.
I know Josh really likes the Razor, but I need a little bit more maneuverability in my ships. I found it too fast and not maneuverable enough. I know it looks cool, it's very fun.
Está diciendo, es demasiado rápida, quiero más maniobrabilidad en mis naves. Dios mío, esto es un bicho. Esta nave me habéis visto pilotar con ella, esto es un bicho. O sea, no tiene nada que... O sea, de maniobrabilidad es una bestia.
I'm not too bothered about top speed, but handling in the corners and then acceleration out of them, I think that helps the way I fly best. As much as I like flying the Fury, I think the Razor still got it for me.
I don't think I really got disappointed by any of our ships. The one that I found the most difficult to race was the 350R. While it's got good...
Este señor tiene pinta de volar bien. Porque dice, no tengo ningún... O sea, bueno, prefiero definitivamente la Razor a la Fury, decía el otro, ¿no? El anterior. Y este está diciendo, no he encontrado que ninguna de las naves lo haga mal, las naves de carreras. Ahora, la 350 me parece de las más difíciles de dominar. Este señor sabe volar, el que está hablando, seguramente.
Good acceleration and a really good max speed. It drifts a lot. I'm in a 350R, and I'm trying to get myself around a corner while the Fury is coming up behind me. The Fury is moving in ways that my 350R can't, and so I'm just having to pick a line and stick to it while the Fury is able to dance around me.
The Fury was incredible, because with it being really small and really fast and nippy.
In my opinion, it was the LX, and objectively it was the LX.
I told you, mate, that Fury's rapid. I'm sure it's just the Fury, just the ship.
I've actually found
nothing to do with driver skill at all.
So once again, for the record, it's not Will's skill, it's the Fury.
No, it's 100% just the Fury, yeah. Nothing to do with Will.
LOL, están diciendo que no tiene nada que ver con la skill de Will, que lo que está ganando en las carreras es la Fury LX. Están hablando de eso. Decía el pavo que iba con la 350R que la Fury le bailaba alrededor, que es lo que vemos ahora en pantalla.
The Fury and the Fury LX really surprised me personally. No, bullshit. No, we knew the Fury was going to be good.
La Fury realmente me sorprendió personalmente. Dice, no, eso es basura. Realmente sabíamos que iba a ser muy buena.
140, what the hell, bro?
Look at the Fury! It did a 112!
Oh my god, this thing's fast.
So in Alpha 320, we're introducing the Fury LX.
The Fury LX is the Fury that has been absolutely tooled out for racing. We've removed...
La Fury LX es una Fury que ha sido totalmente preparada para correr.
all of the weapon mounts and replaced them with extra horizontal strafing thrusters. The base Furies...
Han quitado todas las armas y misiles y los han sustituido por impulsores de maniobra extra.
Weakest directional thrust was actually strafing. It had a little bit of trouble as it came to sliding around corners because while the rear main thrusters can...
Pero espera, tiene misiles. O sea, estamos viendo que tiene misiles. Un momento.
Gimbal as much as they do, they sometimes struggle to provide like directionally horizontal strafe. So adding the extra thrusters in meant that it now has that little bit of extra push when it comes to correcting itself in those sort of situations.
Está diciendo que los motores, que si bien giran, tienen problemas para poder ofrecer el estrafeo lateral y añadiendo impulsores de maniobra extra que se suple esa carencia.
So the first thing you're going to notice on the LX is definitely the new wings. It's such a striking design, more akin to the Razor, right?
I absolutely adore the new wings. I think the use of negative...
Claro, tiene un nuevo diseño de alas y dice absolutamente adoro las nuevas alas que tiene. Es que se molan bastante.
Space and how it's like an F1 wing is some of the nicest racing stuff we've done. It very closely mirrors a lot of the looks in the Razor, which I think is absolutely wonderful in a racing ship like this.
Claro, dice que refleja, ¿no? lo que hemos hecho en la Racer, y que tiene esas alas que tiene pues son toques de un Fórmula 1 y tal, y que están muy contentos con el resultado.
And if you look past the livery, you'll see tons of intricate details, tons of vents, even air brakes, which would be great to work eventually when atmospheric flight and surface controls get brought into the game.
Está diciendo que incluso tiene frenos de aire, que tiene movidas que para cuando metan las superficies de control con el vuelo atmosférico, que serán interesantes y funcionales.
Pretty cool as well is, from a third-person perspective, you'll obviously see those 4 thrusters doing their magic again, but they have these really cool light bars along the kind of rear spoilers, and they look really impressive, especially at nighttime. If you're going to take...
Dice que lo que son las luces que tiene de LED, ¿no? Alrededor del spoiler, que son... que de noche que lucen muy bien y que...
Something as key
O sea,
from the
lucen mejor todavía que de día, ¿no?
design away is like the weapons, right? You need to put something cool in its place. And I think the introduction of that extra mav, and then it's got so many like aerofoils and different things going on at the front, which just makes it look like it cuts through the air, and it really does. So in the play...
Claro, dice que al final de sacarle lo que son las armas y tal, que tienen que ponerlo con su lugar, y que el tema de todos los alerones y tal, que dice genial, ¿no? Que pinta genial.
Playtest, it definitely performed really well. It was really interesting to see the differences between like the base Fury and that, and then comparing it to obviously to the Razor. It performed as you'd expect, very racy, very cool, very flashy, and there was nothing quite as cool as, like, for me particularly, being one of the people who worked on the Furies, was sitting in the base Fury, driving along, and then having an LX fly past me upside down, spinning by someone who was obviously much better at the game than I am.
Ya dice que no hay nada más satisfactorio que para él, ¿no? Que el estar pues al haber diseñado las Fury, el estar en una Fury base y ver cómo alguien te sobrepasa con una Fury LX haciendo una maniobra de trompo, ¿no? Así en plan, por alguien que realmente sabe manejar la nave.
So the Fury LX is absolutely for the racer who wants maneuverability over all else. With its gimbling thrusters, with its extra horizontal thrusters, it will easily outmaneuver pretty much anything else out there.
LOL. O sea, dicen que básicamente es la nave de carreras definitiva, que va a un maneuver cualquier nave que esté ahí fuera. O sea, que va a ser directamente que está OP. Lo que está diciendo es que está rota. O sea, que es la mejor nave de carreras si fuera.
Horizontal thrusters, it will easily outmaneuver.
Con los thrusters horizontales que tiene, que lo hará de esa manera, o sea.
Pretty much anything else out there.
Oh, you know what? We forgot to mention Alex again.
He died.
For 320, we've got some really exciting improvements to the ground vehicles. We've got a brand new time model, and this is based on the Pajaka model. It allows us to create a lot more kind of fidelity within the physics for the ground vehicles. So we've got a curve of forces that allow us to control how the vehicles feel and basically how much grip they have when you're trying to turn a corner in these vehicles. So it gives us a lot more fidelity, a lot of control, and this has allowed us to remove a lot of the old arcade mechanics that the old ground vehicles had, which kind of restricted their movement, which is why they felt quite floaty before. So we've taken a lot of those restrictions out of the system. So now when you do a big jump, you'll feel the weight of the car as the nose dives, or if you jump off a...
Claro, dice que han quitado un montón de restricciones que tenían con el antiguo sistema, con el nuevo sistema, que tienen como una especie de cápsula, no entiendo, que les permite gestionar lo que son el agarre del vehículo, la tracción del vehículo, el comportamiento del vehículo, las físicas del vehículo con respecto al terreno. Y que ahora, pues, a la hora de hacer saltos y demás, que se siente la masa del vehículo cuando caes, etcétera.
Ramp or rock or something, it'll feel like a lot more weighty and a lot more realistic. And also, it's going to allow the different vehicles to perform very differently as well. So, you know, we've got a big...
Claro, esto también dice que permitirá a diferentes vehículos rendir de forma muy diferente.
Cyclone buggy, which is really quick and really agile, and it's got loads of powers. You can do drifts in it. We've got a little PTV buggy, a little STV, and these are going to feel more agile. It's really going to allow the players to...
Vale, esto es algo que no estábamos viendo antes, ¿no? Que esto va a tener bastante potencia y tal. Luego tenemos el STV, que es más ágil. Esto es algo que no estábamos viendo a la hora de probar el otro día el Cyclone, ¿no? Que el Cyclone tuviera deje y tal, y ahora lo está teniendo. Me alegro de que lo hayan arreglado. Hay que ir a probarlo.
It's really going to allow the players to kind of pick the vehicle which kind of suits them. So we're going to carry on to improve the physics, basically fine-tune the handling within what we've just changed in the physics, but also we're going to convert the ground vehicles to use the power system that is used on the ships in Star Citizen. So that's probably going to be the next big step for these vehicles. You know, they use power properly, they use fuel, and that's going to be a big change.
Ok, aparte de todas las mejoras que están haciendo a vehículos, el siguiente gran cambio será el hacer que los vehículos utilicen los sistemas de recursos igual que van a hacer las naves, ¿no? El gastar combustible, etcétera.
That's probably going to be the next big step for these vehicles. You know, they use
O sea, todo lo que es planta de potencia, coolers y tal, o sea, lo mismo de al final es lo que viene siendo la ingeniería, el administrador de recursos, lo que vamos a ver, el progreso de pues, soporte vital, todas las historias que tengan las naves, pues también lo tendrán los vehículos de tierra, ¿no?
power properly, they use fuel, and that's going to be a big change.
Y será un gran cambio, dice, evidentemente.
So, what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that racing is deep in the hearts and minds of many a Star Citizen developer. That it's a fantastic way to test your mettle against others in the least destructive way possible. Alex trying to drag race in a Herald notwithstanding. And that Mirai has a fast new variant of the Fury on its way in the upcoming Alpha 320. And, well, I'd be remiss in mentioning that while we did film this just a few days ago, the winner of this year's Ship Showdown should be crowned right about when this airs. And if we ended up with 2 Drake ships against one another in the finals, as somebody hopes, John Crew has to legally post a video declaring his love for all things Drake. So I really hope you cast your votes accordingly. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the process of game development.
Está comentando de que en el caso de que, bueno, que han grabado este vídeo hace 2 semanas, por eso decía que ya lo tenían antes, ¿no? Esto lo han grabado hace 2 semanas, hemos visto pues que hay pasión por las carreras en lo que es el desarrollo, que las carreras es una forma de medir de qué estás hecho contra otras personas de la forma menos destructiva posible. Y aparte de decir que ahora que juegan tripulación, John Crew, debido a que han salido 2 naves de Drake para lo que es el Ship Showdown, tendrá que hacer una declaración pública sobre todo el amor que tiene por las naves de Drake.
With you, and we'll see you all here next week.
Y ya estaría, chavales. Ya estaría. Bueno, pues ahí está el Inside Star Citizen. Ya hemos visto lo que es la Fury LX. Vamos a ver si la podemos sacar o no. Que no lo sé. Vamos a hacer la prueba, chicos. ¿No? Vamos a probar. A ver si podemos sacar la Fury. ¿Sabes cuándo se van a hacer efectivo el nombre de una nave? Ni puta idea, tío. Y puede ser instantáneo, pero... O sea, a mí me lo hizo instantáneo cuando lo cambié en su momento, pero ahora no sé cómo está el tema. Si tú lo cambias, lo cambiaste y ya está. Te cambiará eventualmente, ¿no? Obviamente en la PT1, para ver el nombre, pues tienes que ir a la página del PTU y es un coñazo. Yo ni siquiera me molesto. Tener en cuenta con los nombres un par de cosas. Todavía sale en el anterior live. Destruye el vehículo y reclama otro. Lo de las carreras es una pasada. Además hay un movimiento bastante fuerte de la comunidad montando cosas, Bastante harto, la verdad. Vamos a ver qué hay por aquí. Yo, o sea, de momento no me he apuntado a ninguna carrera de naves, pero yo creo que me voy a apuntar a alguna, chicos. Yo creo que sí. Voy a mirar a ver qué competiciones hay en activo y tal, y si hay alguna que me llame la atención.